morning, everybody. It's your friend Rick. It is December 20th, 2016. Continuing the with the holiday spirit, the Christmas spirit, whatever holiday you're celebrating. And, I'm passing on knowledge, and I'm passing on what I did to get to where I am. And I want to give a shout out to my friend, the God of Law, Amen Osiris, who anointed me the God of dismissals, which, means a lot to me, because if it wasn't for him, I'm telling you, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Because about a year and a half ago, I've been doing this for a while, and they were just basically stonewalling me, and I gave up at one point. And I knew I was right, but I just couldn't get over that hump. So I forget what I was doing or where I was, but I was on YouTube, and I ran across Amen Osiris's webpage, YouTube page, and let me tell you, you guys don't realize how valuable all of this is here. Because he's right about everything. I've never disagreed with one of his videos, ever. Okay? He knows way more than I do. Alright? But what he did was, he gave me confidence, because it gave me a renewed strength to keep fighting. And you stumble on YouTube, you run across, you just keep you run across this one's YouTube page and that one's YouTube page, and I got caught up in this UCC stuff, and then I got caught up in this common law stuff, and where I am a man and all that stuff, and that stuff. All of these little things help. They're ingredients to a menu, but you got to borrow from a little bit of everything. Okay, because you're dealing with you're dealing with civilians in child support. Then you're dealing with judicial and non-judicial people in the courts. Then you might possibly be dealing with the police or sheriff's department. And what I feel is, if you're right, and you could prove you're right, use their laws or their procedures against them, which is what Amen Osiris is telling you to do. He's saying, look at their, he goes to, chapter 8 of the Federal Child Support Enforcement Manual, and he breaks it down. What they do there, they just post that stuff up there to make themselves look legit. They never follow that stuff. That's just to cover their rear ends. They don't go off that script. They just, it's just to make it look legit. Yesterday's video I did, I remember I was showing you guys that these orders that they're issuing, they're all lacking the necessary signatures, and that makes them avoid judgment or forgeries. Well, they're forgeries because they're taking your property. All right? These are criminal instruments. So, what happened was, I filed a lawsuit in federal court, and I did a lot of good stuff there. What I didn't do, though, is I didn't rebut the presumptions as well as I should have, but I was steamrolled and I was stonewalled, and it showed me that I was right, because they were doing everything illegal. It's hard to fight the federal courts because they're surrounded by, marshals in there, and there's this aura about the federal courts. Sometimes I watch the news and stuff, and I'll hear there's a federal judge today struck down a law, and I'm like, where does a judge get the right or the power to strike down any lawsuit? They can't. But it's become acceptable in our society, and judges, and lawyers aren't going to go against them because they got to work in the courts. So, no lawyer is going to do what we're doing, because they're not going to have a practice for very long. There was a lawyer that I became friendly with who works in the Queens Family Court, and he rattled some cages, and he's looking at a 6-month suspension because they're run by the appellate court here in New York State, and they're not licensed. That's another fallacy. But they're licensed by the appellate court, but it's not a license like you and I would get a license. There isn't like the bar association. It's a club. It's like having a PBA card from the police department. If anybody's familiar with that is. So anyway, what I did was I discovered, because again, I'm always looking for that you could borrow from anywhere. There was some good, and you know what? I do have a background in common law. That's very good to know, and I know Raman Osiris does too. Our country is a common law country. The Constitution is a common law constitution. What happened was the Bar Association took over the courts, and the common law is very simple. I step on your foot, I break your toe, you can't work, I got to compensate you for your missed wages and any other pain and suffering. That's basically it. But these lawyers have to complicate everything, and then they get paid by unraveling everything. I've told you guys I would go and try and hire attorneys because this was very stressful. I would love to just hand this off to somebody and then I get a phone call 2 weeks later. Hey Rick, it's over. It's done. I fixed it. That doesn't happen. Lawyers will not do that. And I would try and the last lawyer I sat down with was almost 2 years ago over here where I live, and I went in there and I was really, really stressed out. I was like bloated from drinking too much because I was so stressed out over this stuff. And I went in there and he wouldn't even, I wrote down everything like in a bullet point, like something like that. Like, that's what I'm talking about today. So I wrote down like bullet points, and he just wouldn't even look at it. And he was just like, okay, how old's your children? And I'm like, well, my daughter's, going to be 23. Well, you have to, you could pay child support till 23. And I'm like, no, I can't. The law is, there is no law. Like, so basically, it's only up to 21 if they're going to college. But here's the thing, guys. There is no law. It doesn't exist. It's all BS. I haven't found that law yet. It's just like an urban myth. But anyway, the guy was such a jerk that I stood up. I reached over like this. I go, give me this. And I stood up. And he was a wise guy, too. He was an old man. But he was like a real, cantankerous type of guy. And, I stood up and I go, I don't know who the hell you think you're speaking to. I go, but you're talking out of your rear end. And I just walked out. So, anyway, and onward I went, and filing this, filing that, threatening this one, threatening that one. And remember, I keep telling you guys, these things all matter at some point. Sooner or later, you're going to hit on the right thing. So what happened was, there's, what are they called again? The National Liberty Alliance. They're a common law group. They got some really good case laws. National Liberty Alliance. Where are they? It's loading up. You want to get some really good case laws and stuff, this is the place to go. All right? These people are constantly filing, common law things, and, they're a big help. Okay? And I ran across the writ of quo warranto, and it made sense. What you're doing is you're demanding proof of authority. Again, a lot of things, we're programmed from Judge Judy and the People's Court, and these judges believe in their own, power. They don't have any power, guys. They only have power you give them. All right. So if you choose to say, who told you could do that? What evidence you basing this on? Because they base everything on presumptions. Okay. Here, let me show you presumptions. Presumptions, a chief weapon for unlawfully enlarging federal jurisdiction. Presumptions are unconstitutional, okay? All presumptions that prejudice or injure protected rights are a violation of due process of law that result in a void judgment. So now, if they violate your due process in making these support orders, let's just say, for argument's sake, you actually have a support order that's signed by a judge, that's entered with the clerk's office. But guess what? It may be a void judgment because they violated your due process. Maybe there are no facts. Maybe it's all presumptions. You know, presumption is you're an obligor. Oh, you're obligated to pay child support. So, you know, they'll say John Doe is an obligation to pay child support. He was supposed to pay $500 a month. He hasn't made the payments. Therefore, we find him guilty and blah, blah, blah. But where's the evidence of the contract? Where's the evidence that you consented? Where's the evidence of a loan? It doesn't exist. Okay? Now, this website is SEDM.org. All right? You want to learn about this? I showed my friend Mike Gilligan this. He was astounded. Statutory presumptions that injure rights are unconstitutional. Okay? The purpose of due process. All right, what the hell is that? I'm just looking at it because I'm looking through the viewfinder. What the hell is it? Oh, no. Christ. I'm sorry, guys. I was just sorting through there. Well, the purpose of due process is to make sure there are no presumptions. That's the whole reason for due process. Okay, you know, you need evidence to prove that you did something wrong. Anyway, so then in August, back in June, I opened this thing up again. I went before that idiot Sue Deep Carr, and she dismissed my case. I filed an objection. It went to a judge. The judge dismissed it without the case had no merit. So what I did was I filed a rebuttal to him, and I basically let him know that, you know, he didn't clarify his evidence, and what he did was unlawful, and he has no jurisdiction, and without jurisdiction, he can be sued. Then I filed a writ of quo warranto, and next thing you know, I had a hearing on August 22nd. Okay, I filed the writ of quo warranto at the end of July, and within 5 days, I had a date to go to court. I went to court on August 22nd. Argued my rear end off. I got him to freeze the support order. And then everything started falling from that point. Then, here's the best part. Okay? Amin Osiris came out with his interrogatories video. So, what I did was, this woman is the big supervisor up in Albany, child support. I filed the interrogatories to her. Okay? I filed this back in probably right after the Amin Osiris video. I think it was back in November or October. Then this is the attorney for the legal affairs for the OTDA, the parent agency of the child support enforcement. Then the judge vacated the support order. Then the child support people weren't following the order. So then I called this woman up last week. I called her before this happened. And then I said, where's my answers to the interrogatories? Okay. Then they weren't listening to my support order. Got her on the phone last week. I got lucky. And, I'm like, you never gave me the answer to the interrogatories. I said, I have a judge's order. I said, I'm never going to do better than a judge's order. I go, I have it all drawn up already. And this is the conversation I never told you guys about. I just said I got her on the phone, and then the other supervisor called me. This is what happened. I said, these people are committing crimes. And I go, I'm never going to do better than an order from a judge vacating the support order. So you guys are just blatantly disobeying a court order, and I'm going to arrest people. So this is what I did, and this is why all the trees started to fall. I kept chopping away. All right, it can be done. All right, you got free knowledge out there. All right, I'm running out of time. You guys have a great day.